An oil rig located in the region claimed by Palestine but operated by the occupying oil authority was reportedly severely damaged today in what appears to be a sabotage operation involving swarms of drones. The exact origin of the drones is currently unverified. This incident occurred shortly after the US and UK decided to escalate tensions in the Middle East by carrying out strikes in Yemen. The affected oil rig is a gas facility that was anticipated to play a significant role in making the occupation's economy less dependent on coal for energy production, potentially positioning the country as a major player in the gas sector. Despite its strategic importance, the ongoing crisis in Gaza has led to repeated attacks by various resistance groups on the offshore outpost, resulting in damages. Due to the consistent threat of attacks, occupation authorities had chosen to abandon the rig. It's important to note that the OMT News team, despite facing scrutiny from YouTube regulators, remains committed to upholding journalistic integrity. Please support unbiased reporting by liking, sharing, and subscribing to stay informed about the latest developments in the region. In response to the recent violence, there are reports indicating that the occupation has temporarily halted production at the Tamar gas field off its southern coast and is exploring alternative fuel sources. Chevron, the operator of the field, confirmed receiving instructions from the Energy Ministry to shut down operations. The Tamar gas field is a key source of gas for the occupation's power generators and industrial activities. The destruction of the oil rig is expected to have a notable impact on the occupation's overall economic performance. Before the current crisis, the rig was estimated to house approximately 605 billion cubic meters of natural gas reserves and 39 million metric barrels of condensate. Operated by the Houston-based oil and gas exploration company Noble Energy, the gas field has stakeholders including Delek Group's subsidiaries, Delek Drilling and Avner Oil Exploration, each holding a 22.7% stake, and Ratio Oil Exploration with the remaining 15% interest. In November 2016, HSBC Bank and JP Morgan agreed to provide a $1.75 billion loan to Delek Group for the initial phase of field development. The project partners, after finalizing the investment decision in February 2017, estimated a total investment of $3.6 billion for Phase 1, with an annual natural gas production capacity of 12 billion cubic meters per month. However, due to the escalating crisis in Yemen, the likelihood of resuming exploration of Palestinian gas in the Mediterranean is now low. Anticipation suggests that tensions may intensify in the coming days, potentially resulting in the targeting of more oil installations across occupied Palestinian lands, similar to some ports. For example, since the crisis began in October, the Eilat port, critical for the distribution of shipped goods in the occupied economy, has remained closed. Ships from the Red Sea have been subjected to economic consequences due to the ongoing situation in Gaza. This has led to increased economic turmoil for both the occupation and its supporters, as their economy faces challenges from the lack of cheaper goods through shipping. OMT News believes that the motives behind the occupation's actions, allegedly driven by the abundant mineral resources in the region, have contributed to their persistence in taking Palestinian lands. The decision of the United States to engage in military actions in Yemen instead of pressing Israel to halt its military operations in Gaza underscores the influence of economic interests, particularly in oil and natural resources, in the ongoing support for the occupation regime. Numerous American companies involved in the exploration of oil and gas in historical Palestine contribute significant revenue to the U.S. economy, creating a strategic imperative for the U.S. to not only safeguard its political ally, but also its economic powerhouse in the Middle East. This perceived injustice and apparent hypocrisy have been identified as key factors escalating tensions in the region. The U.S., accused of tacitly supporting the suppression of sentiments leading to the formation of a Palestinian state, is seen as contributing to the existing division between the governments in Gaza and the official Palestinian authorities in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. This division is believed to serve the purpose of perpetuating the displacement of Palestine, preventing unity for the realization of an independent state. All these dynamics point to the abundant natural resources in Palestine, including ample fresh and groundwater, vast forestry, and oil and gas reserves. This wealth of resources has seemingly shaped a state policy that perpetuates the subjugation of Palestinians. The sponsorship of destabilizing forces in Palestine appears aimed at rendering cities uninhabitable, creating a narrative that opposes the peaceful coexistence of settlers and indigenous people for the collective prosperity of all Semitic inhabitants of historical Palestine. A recent study conducted by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, highlights significant natural gas discoveries in the Levant Basin, totaling approximately 122 trillion cubic feet, with an additional estimate of 1.7 billion barrels of recoverable oil. These substantial reserves present an opportunity to distribute and share an estimated $524 billion among the various parties in the region. However, the military occupation of Palestinian territories since 1967, coupled with the blockade of the Gaza Strip since 2007, has hindered the Palestinian people from exercising control over their own fossil fuel resources. This denial of agency has deprived them of crucial fiscal and export revenues, pushing the Palestinian economy to the brink of collapse. The economic toll on the occupied Palestinian people is well documented, encompassing tight restrictions on movement, property confiscation, loss of land and natural resources, a fragmented domestic market, and the expansion of settlements deemed illegal under international law. The Palestinian people also have limited control over their fiscal space and policy, as per the conditions outlined in the Paris Protocol on Economic Relations. The occupation retains control over Palestinian monetary policy, borders, and trade, collecting customs duties, VAT, and income taxes on Palestinians employed in the occupation, which are then disbursed to the Palestinian government. UNCTAD's estimations reveal that, under occupation, the Palestinian people lost $407.7 billion in fiscal revenues between 2007 and 2017, including revenues leaked to the occupation and accrued interest. In contrast, the Palestinian government's development spending during the same period amounted to approximately $4.5 billion. The prolonged closure and recurrent military operations in Gaza have left over half of the territory's population living below the poverty line, resulting in an annual GDP loss of $16.7 billion. This figure does not factor in the substantial opportunity cost of preventing the Palestinian people from utilizing their natural gas field off the shores of Gaza. The 1995 Israeli-Palestinian Interim Agreement, also known as the Oslo II Accord, granted the Palestinian Authority maritime jurisdiction over its waters up to 20 nautical miles from the coast. The Palestinian Authority, PA, entered a 25-year contract for gas exploration with the British Gas Group in 1999, leading to the discovery of the Gaza marine gas field at 17 to 21 nautical miles off the coast of Gaza in the same year. Despite initial talks involving the occupation government, the PA, and British Gas about potentially selling gas from this field to generate much-needed revenue for the occupied Palestinian territories, the Palestinians haven't seen any benefits. Since the blockade of Gaza in 2007, the occupation government has effectively taken control of Gaza's offshore natural gas reserves. British Gas, the contractor, has engaged with the occupation government, sidelining the Palestinian government in discussions about exploration and development rights. Moreover, the occupation has seized control of the Megad oil and natural gas field located within the occupied West Bank. While the occupation claims that the field is west of the 1948 armistice line, a significant portion of the reservoir is situated beneath Palestinian territory occupied since 1967. By taking charge and exploiting Palestinian oil and gas resources, the occupation is violating the Hague Regulations, the Fourth Geneva Convention, and various international humanitarian and human rights laws that address the exploitation of common resources by an occupying power without considering the interests, rights, and shares of the occupied population. Therefore, any effort to counter such economic injustice is justified. The decision of the resistance to ensure the cessation of rig operations aligns with international law. Help spread awareness by liking and sharing this video so others can be informed. Subscribe to stay updated on the latest developments from Palestine. Until our next update, peace.